I'm Caitlin Cook. I'm the Director of Growth at Moonwalk Fitness. And we're going to talk about health and wellness. And we're going to talk about why I believe that it is going to be an easy gateway for people to be onboarded to Solana and Web3 in general, and specifically more about what we're doing with Moonwalk for those of you who aren't familiar yet. So we're all here for a reason. I think for one way or another, we're all very much of the belief of the true ethos of crypto around permissionless, borderless tech, bringing these better systems and accessibility to people all around the world. And when it comes to, a lot of the more foundational products in this space, for one reason or another, whether it's out of necessity or opportunity, from global payments, remittances, stable coins, or even meme coins on the opportunity side, people will put up with a lot when it comes to something that they have to do to live better or something that is a massive opportunity. But when it comes to consumer crypto, it's a little bit of the opposite of that. So talking through what we've seen as the issue in consumer crypto historically, I'd say we're still in the early innings of consumer crypto from a lot of the products that we've seen. So let's talk about why that might be. And this picture's perfect. A lot of what we've seen with consumer crypto so far is very much of the mentality of they will come to us, Field of Dreams style, if we build it, they will come. When it comes to consumer crypto, consumers have an abundance of products to choose from in the marketplace before even considering a product that's built on crypto rails. And then when we unpack a lot of the user experience from quote unquote consumer crypto apps that we've seen so far, it's a pretty lackluster experience where you're losing potential users at every step of the onboarding process. If it is a consumer product that requires a crypto wallet, tokens to get started, or purchasing an NFT to get through the gate, that is not a consumer crypto product. That is a crypto product. Consumer crypto products should be, and I always say this about Moonwalk, Moonwalk is a fitness app first, built on chain, not a crypto app that focuses on fitness. And I think that mentality should inform every consumer team with what the end goal and who their ultimate audience is of where they're trying to go and what that onboarding experience looks and feels like, being meticulous about the onboarding experience, making it look and feel like what Web2 users are familiar with today, and then also just the addressable market of the product that you're building. And one of my biggest pet peeves in this space, and I'm sure some of you feel the same with a lot of products, is that we're essentially solving for problems that don't exist, or we're addressing very, very niche issues that aren't really going to translate to a larger audience, let alone onboard new users, because the onboarding experience is not good either. So going through specifically to why I think wellness is going to be the wedge and why health is a really big opportunity for consumers to onboard into Solana, specifically through products like Moonwalk. First of all, it's a universal thing. We all have one body, we all have one mind. And I think something that we've been coming around to more generally as a society in an age of abundance where we all have more opportunity and wealth being generated around the world than we've ever seen is that none of that matters if you are not healthy. And it's the one thing that we can always be optimizing for and scale higher that really has no ceiling. And we also have seen it become more part of the cultural conversation with people like Brian Johnson, Andrew Huberman, meeting with the Kardashians. It's really just part of mainstream conversations now. It's becoming cool again, thankfully. And we've even seen, some of the biggest YouTubers in the world. David Dobrik was gone for 2 years off of YouTube, came back, was insanely ripped, very healthy. A lot of stories like that where people who are in positions to effectively do whatever they want, optimizing for their health and being the best versions of themselves. And also along the conversations around products like Ozempic and just bringing in conversations around how do we look better, feel better, what are the things that we control, what are the avenues for getting from point A to point B when it comes to physical and mental health. It really is, I think, opportunistically for us, one of the best times to be building in the wellness space in general, let alone building in wellness on Solana or on chain. So let's talk about where people have missed the mark in the past. As you guys know from Stepin and Sweatcoin and some other products, there were very early consumer products built around the idea of move to earn and fitness in general. And they saw really great user numbers, which I think is ultimately pretty large signal considering what the user experience was like. And I would argue very strongly if those products came to market today with the same user experience, they would not see the numbers in adoption that they did at that time. So it was definitely like a bit of a sign of the times for, the opportunity that was there. And I think we've learned a lot along the way. So there's a lot here, but a lot of it's pretty repetitive. But the first being onboarding. If you, again, back to what I was saying before, if you need a crypto wallet, tokens, or an NFT in order to use the platform, you're losing people at the door, and that is a crypto product. That's not a consumer app. And that is what we saw with those products at the time, with really complicated onboarding and mechanisms in the game, having the option for trading NFTs on secondary to earn more tokens. And a lot of what you see here kind of goes back to the same point, which is if you are creating a product that is, their success is based on an in-app token, the token is the product. The product is not the product. The product is the token. And that kind of misaligns incentives to a more short-term game where people are optimizing for making as much money as possible and not necessarily there for the product itself, which is something that we've seen with Moonwalk on the opposite end of not leading with a token that is specific to our platform and leading using tokens like USDC and Solana that are highly liquid, widely held, and used elsewhere. We're seeing users that are coming to the platform for its actual use case, which is moving more to feel better. So I think a lot of the attempts that we've seen in the past have been built with very inflationary tokenomics models and incentives models in mind that ultimately came to a head and led to a drop-off in users because the users weren't there for the actual product itself. They were there to make money, and the way that they did that was just kind of a secondary thing. So what we've learned, again, simplicity wins, and I think that is both in terms of the user experience itself and onboarding and just the process of how you use the product and access it, but also what the story is. And we see this in crypto all the time. As like a comms person, this is something that gets me, always pretty annoyed, but just really complicated, overly technical explanations for what a product is. If they can't understand it, they're not going to use it. The only people that are interested in testing out those things are the people in this room, and when it comes to consumer applications, our goal is to grow the pie and get products in front of new people, not the same people that we've been talking to for multiple years at these conferences. So those are kind of the two biggest takeaways. But talking about Moonwalk specifically now, so for those of you who aren't familiar, Moonwalk is a fitness accountability app that combines daily step goals with financial incentives to effectively help people live healthier lives. One of the hardest things when it comes to living healthier, and you see this with New Year's resolutions every January, you set a goal, you have good intentions, but ultimately there's no accountability built in other than your own willpower. And that leads to almost everyone who sets those goals falling flat and not continuing those habits after even a couple of months, typically. So the way that Moonwalk works, in simplest form, there are step-based contests that you go on the app, which is available in the App Store or Google Play, so just typical standard app download. You sign up, and there's a list of games for you to join. Each game has a daily step goal, lasts a certain number of days, and there's an entry deposit to join the game, which is right now either in USDC, Solana, or Bonk, so tokens that users widely already have, hopefully in Solana. And the way that it works is if you hit the daily step goal every single day in the game, or in other words, do what you say you're going to do, you get all of your money back at the end of the game. So, and that's like kind of the base case. The more fun part that comes in, which happens pretty much 99% of the time, because pretty much no one's, in every game, there's probably someone who's not hitting their steps every day. If you miss your step goal on one or several days, you lose a portion of your overall deposit. So hit your goals, keep your money, miss the step goal, lose that day's worth of the overall money that you put up at the beginning. I like to call it gamified accountability. That money that is taken from you is put into a prize pool. That prize pool is split by the group of people who did remain consistent. So they're being rewarded for their actions there. So really helping with the main issue that we see in fitness in general, which is how do you actually hold yourself accountable, and using loss aversion as well as potential financial reward and a social setting where you're competing and kind of going in the same direction as people who have similar intent to you do to do better and feel better, to drive you to actual better performance and better living. And something that we've talked about just in terms of, why it works. First of all, the loss aversion component is extremely powerful. There's so much research on what people will do to not lose money. So obviously using that for a positive reason in this case. And then also the social component of it, as I mentioned before. Fitness is something that can be extremely intimidating as well as very isolating if you're trying to do it on your own. If you're someone that's new to any sort of health and wellness routine or trying to get something started, you miss once and sometimes you get really discouraged and maybe you fall off and don't do it anymore, right? So having this social community of people who are all trying to do better has had really profound impacts as well on a lot of our users. Even my mom uses it. So this is something that I'm telling people all the time. I've been in crypto for probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, and my mom has blindly supported everything I do, but she has not understood a thing that I've done. She onboarded to the Moonwalk app on her own, does not have crypto, so signed in with her phone number and joined a game for free, not needing any crypto, and is now sending me almost every single day screenshots of her steps. So she's very proud of that, has a very good streak going now. I've been keeping up with it. So this is the end goal, and of course, we're still early. I know people in the audience who are using it and know the user experience. It needs work. Obviously, we're playing this for the long game. If we were playing it for the short run, we'd be doing a step-in model thing that's inflationary, making the money off of it, leaving it as that. That's not sustainable. We want to actually bring this product to market at scale to help as many people as possible in as many places as possible. And Moonwalk is a product that, kind of talking about the game mechanics again, you can join a game whether you have $1 to put on the line or 100 SOL to put on the line, whether you're just starting your fitness journey and want to get 5,000 steps a day, or someone who is moving actively all the time and wants to make a little money off of it. It's something that is truly borderless. Our community is active across like Africa, Asia, America, Europe, everywhere that you can think of. Our user base is very distributed. We have in-person events with like pretty vivid, like vibrant communities already in various places of people of different backgrounds and whatnot. So very accessible in a lot of different ways and unintimidating, which when it comes to fitness is especially important again. So scaling the movement, let's talk about going back to consumer applications. How do you actually change it from a crypto app that focuses on fitness to a fitness app built on chain? And a lot of this is in progress for us now. First of all, payments. If you need crypto to onboard to the product, that is already a bottleneck and a very major one. A lot of people have strong opinions on whether they think crypto is good or not, and they feel pretty strong about those opinions. So having the option for a user to onboard and remove every possibility of where they could have hesitations or say, oh, well, I don't want to do that. That's how you make a seamless onboarding process. So whether that's reducing the number of steps from getting them to sign up to putting them in a game and making that super frictionless and fast, or having options like fiat on-ramp, off-ramp to make it and look and feel way more familiar to users. So that's something we're in the process of right now, which will definitely open up a lot of doors. We've also gamified the process with a leveling system that we're going to be announcing soon around points program. People love to feel like they're always advancing, and giving those little dopamine hits, specifically early on for users, is a really important way to retain them, make them feel good about what they're doing, and help them want to keep continuing the journey. And then lastly, something that I haven't talked about publicly yet, but something that we're working on right now that I have literally been pitching since I started at Moonwalk last year is, again, fitness is a very social experience, and the ability for people to come together in person or virtually and be a support system for each other is one of the most important parts. We see that's why run clubs are successful. It's why we see so many people obsessed with fitness classes. It goes beyond feeling like a chore, and it becomes social, it becomes fun, and in that process, it becomes far more sticky. So what we're working on with Moonwalk right now is integrating a group system that allows communities that are already formed or communities that are going to form to allow people to come together, whether in person or virtually, to compete in games against each other, have the banter, share fitness updates, share pictures from their hikes and walks throughout the day, and just having that social touch point rather than just a game to make it feel a bit more social rather than one way by signing up for games and then not checking the app again. That's something we feel really strongly about, so that's coming very soon. And again, so as I mentioned, this is a global community already. I want to continue growing that. Our 4 biggest markets right now, from my memory, are the United States, France, Vietnam, and Nigeria. So we're very geographically spread. Again, this is a very universal product that appeals to different demographics and is very flexible. So we have a pretty big community and are going to be pushing more in-person events again because of the social components of fitness. And that's something we're super proud of, and I think something that we've differentiated ourselves with early on by making that a priority and making it really fun and engaging rather than just online like we see a lot of crypto communities do. So I guess in summary, mainstream crypto adoption starts with better daily experiences. What are the addressable markets and things that normal people care about in their day-to-day that you can enhance using the things that we know are so great about blockchains like Solana? And it's really that simple. We can't build the same products that are already built and expect people to jump through hoops to use them. That's just not the case. So we need to build undeniably better experiences that surprise and delight users at every single step. And just make people's lives better, whether that's helping them be healthier like we are, helping them make money, helping them make friends. It's really that simple when it boils down to it, and I think we often tend to complicate things. So for those of you who don't use Moonwalk yet, it's on the App Store, it's on Google Play. Download it, give it a try. You can join a game for free, and let's all step towards living healthier. Thanks.